Hello walkers, and welcome to the Old Faithful area of Yellowstone National Park. Today we're going to show you around the complex that makes up the Old Faithful area. In an earlier video I filmed the Upper Geyser Basin, and so I'll try to remember to put a link to that in the bottom. A lot of stuff is closed right now due to the pandemic. But we're going to do the outside of just about everything anyway. We're going to start at I think the west end, and where you can get fuel. All right, this is probably the least crowded area of Old Faithful. So if you're looking for an uncrowded place to park, this is a good option sometimes. This is a general store, Hamilton store. They've got a cafe, a lot of gifts and drinks, and they've got a cafe. What am I saying? It's like a diner counter. Excuse me. They call that the naughty porch. I'm gonna take you over here and let you see this cool porch that they've made out of naughty old timbers. Pretty neat. Today I am filming on the GoPro 8 with it's a vertical axis stabilizer, but it doesn't really do much of that, but it does keep the camera level, or more level. They have protocols in place here: one entrance, two exits, and you have to go, it's sort of one-way traffic, and you have to of course wear a mask, and if you have any kind of symptoms, please don't go in. Just be considerate of other people in that regard. Excuse me. I don't have symptoms, but I do have a little bit of a reaction to all this fire smoke. There was it's fire season, it's mid-August. It's about 57 degrees Fahrenheit, 14 degrees Celsius, and we're at about 7,300 feet of elevation, I believe, if my app is to be believed. Nice little creek here. Anyway, you can see the smoke in the video, and I can certainly smell the smoke. It smells like a campfire. Ahead is the Old Faithful Inn. We're going to take a walk around the outside of that. But over there is the Upper Geyser Basin, where we just did a previous walk. I just did a previous walk. You probably saw it a couple days ago. The Old Faithful Inn. One of the things interesting here is they have a cell tower here, so you get pretty good cell service, enough to actually, sorry about the audio here, I feel like I'm getting some of the wires moving around. It's always a challenge for me. You get clothing sounds. Let's just start with the Old Faithful Inn. You can see the woodwork of it, design of it is really pretty cool. A lot of detail. Unfortunately, it is closed right now. People can stay in the snow lodge, which we'll take a look at in a little while. We'll make our way around to that. And it's too bad. I'll have to come back next year, and hopefully it'll be open then. And walk around on the inside. It's pretty spectacular. Made entirely out of stone and logs, like 4 or 5 floors, balconies, all kinds of great views. It's a really cool building. Excuse me, that smoke. Which I mentioned, this forest fires. There's one that started a couple days ago, a couple miles south of here. But apparently it's not going to be a problem. It was headed in another direction, and but it is providing a lot of smoke, as is a fire over by Dillon, Montana, which is, I don't know, 100 miles or so away, a little more. And then the fires in California, of course. Surprisingly, we get a lot of that smoke sometimes, if the winds are right. It's about 10 in the morning. I don't know if I mentioned that. And pretty nice, a little less crowded than I expected. The parks have been getting slammed as people are looking to go out and travel. and see some get out in nature and with some distance between themselves and others, and still get out of the house. Look at this amazing building. And then you can actually spend the night here, rent rooms here throughout in the normal times. We'll peek in through the windows here, but if we can get through the reflection, I'll try to do that. Kind of neat. And get an idea of what it looks like. It's just a classic old log building. It's also a pretty nice place to watch Old Faithful erupt from the deck that we just walked under. Grab yourself a coffee or a cold drink, and we will hold on here from right up there, and then you can see it there. I apologize to anybody on a treadmill if that throws you off. I've gotten several comments lately, some for showing details off to the sides, and some saying, oh, it really throws me off. I can't, obviously those are mutually exclusive, so I'm just going to do what feels good at the time and try and keep everybody in mind. Such a spectacular building. I've never actually spent the night here, stayed here. I've stayed in the snow lodge in winter, and that was an amazing experience. You have this place nearly to yourself. Of course, it's, near 0 degrees Fahrenheit, but that is also pretty spectacular because it's just the steam and the ice crystals from the steam and the roar, and at night the stars and the moon. The skies are so incredibly clear. It's pretty spectacular. We're getting close to an eruption, and the rangers will post the next predicted eruption, but I can tell because of all these people. And this is actually a small crowd compared to what it is normally. You can see though that there's still a lot of people here, so I'm not actually going to go over there. You can look up literally thousands of videos on YouTube showing Old Faithful erupt. We are going to make our way back around here to the visitor center, which, surprise, surprise, is also closed. I don't mean that to sound like I'm complaining. You have to keep people safe for sure. And it's a relatively new visitor center, and it's really well designed. I'm really impressed by the choices they made. They didn't just go for the cheapest thing possible. And the inside, unfortunately, I wish we could show you that, has got some great interpretive displays, great for kids as well as adults. A lot of interactive things to do and to learn about the geothermal features in the area and also the wildlife. I think they have a board with sort of predictions of the geysers, and these are really just predictions. They're guesses. They don't operate on exact schedules, so there's usually 10 or 15 minutes of leeway on either side, at least for Old Faithful, hence the name. One of the things I would ask people to do here is to stay on the boardwalks. It seems like every year 1 or 2 people do something like decide they want to go stick their head in the geyser, Old Faithful, which has been done. And not only is it dangerous, not only is it highly illegal with potential fines of tens of thousands of dollars, I think, though they seem to not be willing to write big fines here. But it damages things. It damages the geyser, it damages the surroundings, and it's not really fair to the rest of us who want to come here and enjoy it respectfully. Here's the building. You can see it's a really kind of cool modern twist on a lodge. There's the predictions. So we've actually got about 15 or 20 minutes before it erupts. Looks like they're doing some more work. Off to the right here, around there are some restrooms, outdoor restrooms. There's also another general store, and there are restrooms inside the visitor center, of course, but they do get a lot of people here. So if one restroom is occupied, you can find some others pretty easily. Another thing you want to do is avoid bison and wildlife. Sometimes they will come into this area, and it's tempting to go up close to them to get a great selfie. But there's already been 2 people gored this year, including one woman who was not really injured but had her pants ripped off in front of everyone. And that's embarrassing. And it's not very nice to the bison either. They're not looking to hurt anyone. They're also not looking to be annoyed. So keep that in mind. Off to our right here is the Yellowstone Art and Photography Center. It's a small little building and display. They got a couple rocking chairs out front, and it's kind of a neat little place to check out. I don't think we're actually going to go in, and maybe we will. They of course have things for sale. I'm going to put my mask on. They've got marked entrances and exits. All sorts of copyrighted stuff in there, so I'm not going to go in. The main parking area for Old Faithful is off to the right. Very large parking area, but it fills up. And so you might have to poke around to find some other lots. Up ahead is the Old Faithful cafeteria and cabins. There's an ice cream place in there that we like to stop when we come to visit. I don't know if it's actually a place you can rent rooms still. Well, it's a neat old building, so we'll go take a look. A lot of these, I'll post some stuff from Wikipedia in the description below. But these old buildings are really historic, very cool. This is, of course, the world's first national park, but they utilize a lot of natural stone and wood supplies. And I just like that aesthetic. It looks like they're doing takeout orders. I'm not going to go in just because one less person in the enclosed space, but you can see these giant tree trunks they've used as columns for the main area, and then smaller ones as you go down, wood shingling on the sides, and this interesting, I think it's volcanic stone, pretty sure it's sourced locally, and because this building is probably over 100 years old. I need to check that to confirm. It's definitely from the 30s or before. Could be an old WPA project. It's obviously been updated with remodeled cement in this area. We'll see a dining room. Let's see if we can poke into the window to show you the dining area. I think we can. Oh, I guess it's employee recreation. That's interesting. Obviously, they have to have people work for the park and the concessionaires. And those people, you know, it's 2 hours from Gardner, an hour and a half from Gardner in here, so they're not going to have people commute every day. And so they bring people in and they have employee lodging, and this is their recreation center. And they have all sorts of seasonal employees for the year. And in the past, they've relied heavily on a visa program for people from other countries to come in because they just can't find enough workers in the U.S. That are willing to take a 2-month, 3-month job. But it's a real treat for a lot of young, typically college-age people from overseas to come and visit Yellowstone, and a national and international icon. This is the primary parking lot I was referring to. We're going to walk through that to check out another general store and the Snow Lodge. The Snow Lodge is open for staying this season, apparently. And I'm not sure what the deal is with this general store, but we'll find out soon. I mentioned in the earlier video, but I'm not sure if I have in this one yet. I can't remember. We came in to the park in the winter several years ago and stayed at the Snow Lodge, and it was fantastic. Our kids were little at the time, and we could just let them run around the lodge because it wasn't very crowded. And you take a snow coach in, and that's a bit of a tour. You make a couple stops at geysers and waterfalls and stuff. And we saw a wolf on the way in. And they have a big fire and a restaurant there. You can bring your own food in a cooler if you want. And they have an ice skating rink in the winter. And then you can, of course, go out and see the geysers and go on other tours as well. And it was just a great time. Something must be open. I see those coffee cups calling my name. You can see, even during the pandemic, and by 10:30, this parking lot is filling up quickly. This first lot is full, the second lot is filling up. People will be parking further south in the store lots and lodge lots very soon. I don't know if you can rent bikes here or not, but in the winter you can definitely rent skis and snowshoes. can also get fuel over at the Sinclair station. I'm not actually going to go inside just because personally I don't really always care for seeing stores. And it's mostly gift shop stuff anyway. But this is the general stores at the Old Faithful. You can get food, ice cream, souvenirs, sporting goods, I guess, groceries. Limited groceries, I'm sure. You can also get your fishing licenses here. You have to get a special fishing license to fish in Yellowstone. Wyoming or Montana is not sufficient. They are very affordable, but there are also special regulations to be aware of. Sorry about that. Over here is a snow lodge. We'll do a quick pass by that. It looks like you can rent bikes, that's cool. There's not a lot of paths on which you can ride a bike in Yellowstone, but one of them is around Old Faithful, in fact, from Old Faithful over to the west to another geyser basin. And so it's a nicely maintained path. Definitely worth it if you want to get the kids out pedaling. Here's the Old Faithful Snow Lodge, gift shop, geyser grill, etc. Again, we're going to choose not to go in there just because one less person is probably a little bit helpful. But we are going to walk around and show you the outside of the Snow Lodge. Again, I'll have to come back next year and do another series of inside walks, show you guys around. This is certainly not as historic, it's much newer. Over here is where they typically have the ice rink, but it's very nice inside, and it's also very expensive, not just because of the rooms, but because you got to pay to get in and pay to get out. And I think it's about $100 a head to get in and same to get out, I think, which for a family of 4 adds up very quickly. They also have a main dining room, which is in this section, but in the winter at least, they have a lot of easy chairs, a big fire, I think I mentioned. It's a great place to just sit and relax, maybe have a coffee or a drink and do some reading or puzzling or whatever. There's usually a puzzle going on in there that people work on, take a turn on every once in a while. Here, of course, is check-in in the entrance. And across the highway is employee housing, and I think that might be what this is as well. But they've got some condominiums on the other side of or apartment buildings on the other side of the highway, which is under repair at the moment. Additional parking over here as well if you ever get here and parking does fill up. It's a good option. This is the back side of the visitor center, which I mentioned is closed right now. And then we're going to go over and see the back side of Old Faithful. I'm sorry, Old Faithful Inn. Now, you can see these recycling bins that are bear safe, one presumes. The trash cans around here are bear safe because of what they say is a fed bear is a dead bear. And that is because what happens is they get accustomed to human food, and then they start breaking into people's trash and cabins, and when that happens, then you can't have that because that endangers people's lives, and when it comes down to people or a bear, the bear always loses. So don't feed the bears, or the squirrels actually. One of the primary sources for injuries in these parks are people feeding the chipmunks and the squirrels and getting nipped. It's an interesting social observation, watching families throughout the day and the way they handle the stresses of travel. Visiting parks is great. These things, they are a huge treasure and such a value for the public. But anytime you're traveling as a family, people can get frustrated, tired, hungry, especially kids. And that can be a challenge. Here is the one wing of Yellowstone Inn, Old Faithful Inn. Oh my gosh, get that right, Henry. And here's the back. You can see at the top there is a balcony and a veranda. I'm pretty confident you cannot go up there. I would love to go up there. It looks awesome up there. This place, so historic, was almost lost in the '88 fires. It's almost a miracle that it didn't. The fires kind of came up, and these were just catastrophic fires, came up and sort of went around it at the last minute. They had hoses and were spraying it down, and there wasn't a lot of hope for it until the last minute. I'm so glad that it didn't. It's just an amazing structure, and hopefully I'll get a chance to film the inside for you the next time I visit. I want to thank you guys for joining us today at the Old Faithful, I would call it a complex of buildings and services. Definitely the most popular place in the park. Definitely gets crowded. Yellowstone gets 3 to 4 million visitors a year, and considering it's only really open for about 4 months, that's pretty significant. And you can see all the people that are here. So I advise coming early in the day. That's also a good time to see wildlife. I know it can be a challenge to get your kids out of bed in the morning, out of their sleeping bags, but you will have a much more positive experience if you can do that. And then it does get super hot in the day, so drink lots of water, preferably from a reusable water bottle. 4 million people generate 4 million people's worth of trash, so the more we can reduce that, the better. And water is water, so just put it in a reusable jug. Also, be aware of the altitude. It can get the better of you, and it will dry you out very quickly. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Leave a comment below. We're going to head over to the Old Faithful Geyser here to see. Looks like it might be erupting. Leave a comment below. Tell me about your Yellowstone memories or experiences or questions or hopes. Check out travelingmail.com or yellowstonetrips.com. My wife, she runs those blogs and has a lot of great information about Yellowstone, visiting Yellowstone for families, sample itineraries, key information, that sort of thing. Give us a like, thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell, sorry. That'll let you know when we release new videos. Right now we're kind of on a 2 a week schedule. I'd love to get back up to 3, but until travel becomes a little more safe, probably going to have to keep it down around 2. You can see the crowds are still watching the geyser. I think it's scheduled for 10:29 and it's 10:36. So we may have just missed it. You can see the upper geyser basin in the distance there. There's a bear. Just kidding. Love seeing families out here enjoying this. It really is a memorable experience for kids. And there's at least 2 places to get ice cream, if not 3. Starting to get a little fussy over there. You can see it doing puffs of steam. There we go, it's about to start. Well, we'll just stay and watch, and I'll be quiet from now on. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You see it?
If that was in your house, then
It would blow your roof off.
Connor's gonna do another.
You bit on the forehead by a bug?